hopefully the opponent decides to join. And see how this goes. But it's helpful when people concede the first game at the point where we're going to have it wrapped up, but it's going to take a while. Yeah, it certainly doesn't hurt. If you don't get that, always get that luxury. This hand's great. This is why this deck is like basically mandatory 27 lands. Like all you want a lot of the time is to draw more lands, so you can just keep playing your things. Like obviously you don't want to stretch that too far. You don't want to end up being flooded, but oh, probably mono green again. So this is going to be a real test because the games where they have turn 1 Llanowar Elves are just hugely different. But we've got our tap lands. We're going to be doing an opt end of turn most likely, playing a Gideon. Hopefully, almost hopefully they play a Steel Leaf. Oh, green red. So this is probably the green red monsters list. All right, that one is annoying. We're going to opt. Yeah, we want to hit a 4th land drop, so we'll keep that on top. And we're going to be making that Brontodon decide to live a more peaceful life. Notice that the irrigated farmland is helpfully a plains and an island for our glacial fortress. So we're going to plus on this Brontodon. There are a couple of ways they can kill it from this point, but not too many. I believe this deck, I haven't seen all the latest lists, but I believe they normally play Earthshaker Kenra, but that doesn't quite get there, so it'd have to be like Earthshaker Kenra and a Blossoming Defense would get the job done. Heart of Kiran. Yeah, that's one of the ones we're a bit more worried about, but luckily we do have the cast out for it. So we're going to cast the cast, actually, yeah, what we're going to do here, oh, we can, yeah, so I've thought about it a little more. I'm going to plus on the Heart of Kiran, which is a neat little interaction that Gideon can do. He targets a permanent, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to cast out on our turn, because we don't want to let our opponent untap with the Blossoming Defense, and it means that they just don't have enough pressure. We'll start off on a plains here, I think. And again, we just want to try and get as much of this board like cleaned up. The fact that this Gideon is keeping something locked down is just great for us. But this Brontodon's always going to be able to kill the cast out if we try and put it on anything else. So we may as well get it on something that is still a legitimate threat in of its own right. Let's see what our opponent does here. Glorybringer is possibly one of the worst things that can happen to us. That's really unfortunate. Not much to be done about that, I'm afraid. That is unfortunate. So, given that we have the second Teferi, I'm inclined to just play one. Last time we could have potentially considered plussing on the Brontodon, and then we would have been able to cast out the Glorybringer, but they would have blown up they wouldn't have had quite enough mana to blow up the Glorybringer to be able to get it back with Summoning Sickness, but they would have got it back anyway, so it would have been great for us. They didn't have to exert. So we can Teferi and plus and just they can kill it on board, but we do get our mana back and we gain some life. And we can cycle this farmland, or we can just be looking to cast out this Glorybringer. I think I prefer that, and seeing as, again, there's no point. I don't know if this deck actually has the space for Blossoming Defense, but I think I just want to answer this. I also don't want to let them crew the Heart of Kiran with it, so I think it's going to be our line. We'll do that on this. Our opponent's got 3 cards in hand still. If we had a board wipe in hand, so whether that was a Settled Records or a Fumigate, I'd actually be more inclined to cast out the Heart of Kiran. But this is the fact they can't crew it at this moment. Yeah, hopefully. Look at. Seems like we've had a bit of luck. They don't have any more creatures, so given that, I think I'm actually inclined to. Well, first of all, we'll play the Teferi before playing our land. We do have this Memorial to Glory as well. But we don't want to do that. And I think it's from a plus. We'll draw a card. And we're hoping they don't draw our land yet again. And we're going to play Island because we want, when our land's untap, if we don't draw anything else to do, I think we want to be cycling. We want to be cycling our irrigated farmland. So we're hoping that they don't hit another creature. They didn't hit one last turn. Or that if they do hit a creature, they at least have to tap their elves. But that does just about do it, because they can... Oh, no, not exactly. They can get the Teferi down to 1. Okay. This is just... If their draw is just the Hashep Oasis. Awesome. Our Teferi's still alive. Him kicking about on 1 loyalty, especially when we have this Memorials of Glory, could be good enough. Yeah, our opponent's definitely bricked here after a great start. They got the Blossoming Defense as well. They do play Blossoming Defense. Okay, well, there's actually nothing that we can cycle into here that could possibly save Old Teferi, so this is fine. We'll cycle this. Another land's not what we're looking for. So we could technically... Field of Ruin. We're 1 mana short of being able to pop on Memorial to Glory, unfortunately. And actually, given that, I think that I want to just pass. Our opponent can't attack us with our elves if they don't draw another creature, because we've got this Memorial of Glory. If they do attack, we'll happily trade a soldier for it. Yeah. So I think it's just a nice use of our mana. Do it this way. We just don't want to throw our Teferi out there, and if they had, obviously it would have worked out the way that it did. But if they just drawn any creature there, it would have been a disaster. So I think what I'm actually going to do here is we're going to play Teferi and minus on their Heart of Kiran. And we'll leave the soldiers back. We can play the Search for Azcanta, which is close to flipping, but not quite. Oh, tap my lands, Clarky. We could attack with a soldier, but there's just no need. Our opponent may have... It's very feasible. Some of the cards in our opponent's hand are like Abrades. Yeah. If they have 2 Abrades or like Magma Sprays, that's unfortunate. Okay. Yeah, those are definitely cards that could have been in our opponent's hand that weren't lands, but they could definitely have like another Blossoming Defense. And at least if they attack our Teferi. Alright, we don't quite get to flip our Search for Azcanta, unfortunately. Although what we might want to do is, I think that given our hand... Oh, they didn't... What did they exile? They chose not to use the ability. I think that was a mistake on their part. I think they should have eaten something from our graveyard so that our Search for Azcanta couldn't flip. Because now if assuming they've killed our Teferi, yeah. We also need to be careful because our Gideon is gone and we only have 1 Teferi left in the deck. I'll go in the graveyard because we want to flip our Azcanta. So we are almost out of win conditions, which could be a tad awkward, but we're going to keep... Our last Gideon's going to be saved until we're completely confident that it will win the game. So... I guess I'm happy to wait for our opponent to attack before we do anything. But now this Azcanta, hopefully, can really start to take the game over. Yeah, I feel like our opponent should have exiled that when it came in. And I think we're actually going to take this Disallow, because the pool for tomorrow is excellent, but we just don't need the card advantage. We have the Azcanta, and we just want to make sure that nothing like a Chandra could be a real issue. So we're fine. Then next turn, if we want, we can Fumigate, especially if they play another creature here. So we could Fumigate and still hold up our Azcanta and our Disallow. I don't think we need to. We're under no pressure. Our opponent's attacking us for 5. They have the Heart of Kiran here, which I may counterspell. I believe it's this turn that they have the ability to cast it if they want. But I may also just let it resolve and look to just deal with the creatures that could possibly cure it as and when they happen. But when they attack, we'll do the same thing. Especially with the Fumigate backup, I'm I guess I should let that resolve. Surprised they didn't exile the other opt, considering that we could theoretically have thing. Given that I have both disallows, yeah, I'll take this. If they cast the Heart of Kirin Hero, I think I'll be looking to counter it. Yeah. Oh. Tad awkward that we're tapping out of our other disallow, so maybe that's a reason to not do it there, but I don't think they have anything. I'm pretty sure their last card is a land. So I want to Fumigate here actually. Keep our life total a little higher. I don't really want to be taking another 5 because that kind of puts us into range of a Glorybringer. Alright, our opponent scooped there. I think they actually, contrary to the other opinions, I think they actually could have kept going. The fact that we were almost out of win conditions and they were really in a position, it's very unlikely they could win. I think they're 5% or something, but like we can definitely just whiff on Azcanta if there's a few too many lands in a row, or we'd have to wait on our Gideon for a while if our Gideon was in the bottom 3 cards or something, but even then I guess we could emblem it. I don't think that they were realistically winning the game from that point, but I think there was definitely still worth fighting. But I mean, I appreciate for the sake of brevity that they didn't, but So green, red. The Lyra's great, the Fumigate's going to be good. Although a little worse because of the fact that they have the stickier threats in the form of the Heart of Kirin's. Cast out, I almost want to just cut them because of, we've been shown Blossoming Defense, we've been shown Brontodon. You do want them against we've got the Seal Away still, so we're still vulnerable to the Brontodon. The Supremel's not necessary. And then the gates aren't great. Are they negates? Especially not on the draw. I think I'm fine with this. We don't want to cut any lands because we're keeping the curve high. Yeah, the 5-drops are so important to these matchups. This is another reason you just need that land drop. Thing with the ops as well, we just really need to find a Fumigate or Settle sometimes and against some of their draws. But yeah, the thing is with Llanowar Elves, it's an incredible card. Let's obviously not undersell it, but end of the day, sometimes you can just draw if it's just an extra land when you're getting into the later part of the game, and that can just sometimes these decks make them fizzle out a little bit. So this hand's interesting. I'm going to keep it on the grounds that we've got the Set of the Wreckage and we've got a Field of Ruin that's pretty likely to be able to find us a land. This could be this is scary, and that's the Field of Jaeglacial Fortress, excellent draw. We'll play that out here. So the Brontodon, Aronas. Okay, well, luckily we've got that Seal Away is a brilliant draw. Sometimes you get there, right? But we had this Gideon to keep it under wraps, although the problem is that this would be able to pump himself. So we're hoping he plays a big creature here. Yep, Phoenix. So what we'll be looking to do, we're hoping he attacks us with the Aronas, we get to Seal Away, and then we can Gideon. Yeah, this is brilliant for us. That Seal Away, absolutely perfect draw. It's one of the reasons. Look how incredibly powerful the card is. The fact that it exiles just really get you out some sticky jams. Second Gideon's a nice protective device. So we're going to play this. We're going to plus on the Phoenix. And this is like, it's where you want to be. With the fact that we have this Set of the Wreckage, means that we can just start to, is this a Glorybringer? A Nissa? Oh, blimey. Just get haste. Yeah, it gets haste. Oh, I've not seen a Nissa in these decks before. Oh, this is a problem. Okay, well, that's a really good turn for our opponent. I'm not entirely sure how we beat this. I have not seen this card see any play. So our opponent wants to, they can just minus it and get the emblem. Definitely don't know how we ever beat that. Well. Okay, well, let's just pass the turn. We don't want to play anything here. Yeah, our opponents had a brilliant... Unfortunately, although as much as I'll see the way it was rather timely, I think our opponent's 1-3-4-5 game is going to get us here. I just can't imagine how we can beat the minus on this. It's going to just really outcard us. Yeah, that's fine. They choose, if they attack with both and they try and, if they plus and try and attack us, we have a chance because we can wipe their board, we can Teferi minus to get this back, and then hopefully we can try and find a counter spell. So I think from their perspective, they should just minus because I think we're going to really struggle against that. Although we are representing a disallow would be, yeah. Okay. So we're hoping they attack us with everything. That would be really, really ideal for us. Ah, unfortunately our opponent's correctly playing around this settle. So I don't think I can afford to settle. I think I'm still going to have to play this Teferi, unfortunately, and minus on the Nissa, unless I find a... Because I just have to find a counterspell, because I don't think I can otherwise win. This is going to be a difficult one, I'm afraid. But correctly played on our opponent's part. Third from top. So there are 2 cards on top of it, so... Okay, that's now 1 and 2 draw steps, they'll have it. Hopefully this pull from tomorrow can help us. But it does ease a lot of the pressure. We're going to be taking 4 here. Yeah. Thing is, although our opponent might have been playing around playing around the settles, they also managed to successfully play around the thing. I think I have to be pulling tomorrow for 4. Or I can play this Gideon and plus if I want to try and play a little bit more of a cautious game, so I'm hoping to just draw a counter spell. So how am I going to win this game? So the problem is, if I pull from tomorrow for 4, I'm just going to be taking 5. Yeah, I don't think I can win if I do that. So I think what I have to do is Gideon plus on this Phoenix, because they don't have, they're drawing an unknown card, and then it's Anissa. Blossoming Defense again would be quite an issue. But I think that our best way to win this is hoping their top card's another blank, which hopefully it is. I don't think this is quite a Chandra, my word. Okay, we're going to have to bring in the negate for the games 3 that I'm pretty sure we're going to be having here. At least Oh, I think our opponent made a huge blunder there. Oh, they definitely didn't want to do that. They can't redirect it to the Gideon. And the way that works is that we can't actually... Now that we have to worry about the Nissa. Oh, excellent. Alright, okay. We've still got some fight in us. So what we're going to be doing here, I think we're going to be plussing on the... So we need to find a cast out. So I think we want to plus on the... Okay. On this Rekindling Phoenix again, and then I think we just want to be... pull from tomorrow. Did I didn't side out all of them, did I? No, I haven't got 1 cast out in on my... Okay, so we're gonna have to be hoping to find that, or another Teferi to, yeah, would just about do the trick. But okay, well, I think our opponent's slight mistake there has given us a bit more hope. Or a Lyra would be good. Oh my, I guess we gotta scatter that. I can't really, yeah, can't really cope with that one. So unfortunately our pull from tomorrow only goes to being 3 cards, but we just couldn't afford to take quite that much damage. And we don't. Let's settle the wreckage because takes more of our turn anyway. So we're trying to find a Teferi, a Lyra, or the cast out. Seeing 4 cards to do so. It's not too unreasonable. Lands, unfortunately, are not going to get the job done. That's not a great rip. But it's okay, we got a cycle. Possibly I was meant to keep a planes there, actually, thinking about it. So I can either cycle, try and find a Teferi, although it's not even that good. If we find... It's a 4-4, right? Yeah. So I think I just want to be going for one more pull for tomorrow, so I think we want to keep this. Yeah, this should have definitely been a plains. That was a mistake on my part. Just the likelihood that we cycle both of them. I guess if we hadn't drawn a pull from tomorrow, if this had been another blank, then being able to cycle twice does give us a bit more live outs. Oh, that's a real problem as well, because you can get back there Ronus, which really just makes every card they have a threat. Luckily, they can't pump the Llanowar Isles this turn at least. That is an issue. That is an issue. Yeah, I think that's correct. So I think there's a strong argument for them to sacrifice their Thrashing Brontodon to bring back the Ronus to pump the Llanowar Elves there. But I do wish at this point that Paul from tomorrow had the life gain kicker. But 5 cards is a lot. We're going to need a lot to get us out of this, I'm afraid. Well, Fumigate's part of it, but not all of it, unfortunately, because of the Phoenix. Yeah, I don't think that's going to do it. So discard the land. So we got a Glacial Fortress, so we can... If we Fumigate, we have just enough mana to settle the wreckage. We gain... Okay. I mean, the problem is they're going to ultimate this Chandra. They might play around... They might play around... We might have one more turn because they should probably play around the Disallow, which could counter the trigger. So I think given that, I think we want to... What we could do... The problem is they're going to have this Ronus, which is a real problem. But I think we're going to do it like this. We're going to Fumigate. They're going to sacrifice this to bring back the Ronus. Then I think I meant to... I either plus the Ronus, or I think I actually zero. I attack the Chandra. Yeah. So our opponent's put in an interesting spot because they can't block with the Ronus. They can't pump the Elemental. So if they chump the Elemental, they're losing. Their Ronus can't attack, and if I have a Disallow, then they could be put in a real spot of bother. I'm not sure if our opponent will think to play around a Disallow here, but we've drawn, top half of our deck, so it's definitely going to be a real consideration for them. So I think the correct play for them is just to chump with the Elemental. Yeah. Which at least gets rid of that problem for us. And now if they play around a Disallow, it gives us one more chance to find the Cast Out or the Teferi. But we'll see how it goes. Gideon doing his work again. Nope, that'd be absolutely brilliant if we could Disallow here, but unfortunately we don't have it. So I think our opponent's probably got us. If they have 2 spells, we are just dead. Yep, that's 1. We have the Settle the Wreckage to deal with the Ronus, so we don't tie to that, but any other spell will be dead. It's a real shame that we didn't have the Disallow there, because that would have really given us a good odds to win this game, I think. Although, possibly not. No, if I think about it, maybe the... Okay, sure. Any spell, we're dead. Yeah, that's fine. No. If we had the Disallow, then we'd be on 7, but the Phoenix would let them attack with this, and if they have the Blossoming Defense in any case, then we'd still be dead. That's fine. Alright. Guess our opponent didn't need to play around it because they had the kill in any case. I think we want this Cast Outs back, and I'm actually kind of inclined for a negate, given the... And I want to shave a Fumigate, actually. It doesn't seem that good against what they were doing post-board. I think they were going a little bigger. I do want this Supreme Will, possibly over Opt. Still like what Essence Scatter is doing. Still like the search for Escanters. CLOAs are still excellent. Gideon was great. Teferi's still good. Lyra's gonna be good. I can see Shaving and Opt. It's either that or a one pull for tomorrow, but I think those games really highlighted exactly how much you're going to help. Just, well, not quite so much in that particular game, but it can do a lot of good work. I'm going to shave one Opt. Not sure if that's correct. So yeah, this match is going to be difficult. I think that's our. So how many more? Would have to draw too many lands for this in a row. Even though we can Opt on the play, I'm just not comfortable keeping that hand. Even though it's got some good things going for it. This has a turn to search for Escanter. We're hoping to keep a land on top. It's an awkward land, but with the farmland we can still cast our spells. And the Search the Void looking a little better than a Scavenger Grounds here. Like we were just being able to scry into hopefully more lands is good. Yeah, opponent not having a land rolls is brilliant for us. Like that last game really showed quite how problematic that can be. Opponent's thinking long and hard about whether they are happy with us scrying one, and yeah, we'll easily keep that on the top. We can't cast that one, but we can cast this one. Turn 2 Search is a powerful play. We've got the planes on top, which we'll be keeping. I guess the scry is also a little bit less relevant when we've got the search, so because we're almost getting a virtual scry anyway. Our opponent not having a 2-drop is good in some regards. We've got to keep the land, unfortunately, even though it's not what we want. Lots of interaction, but having the cast out does give us that. The fact that our opponent has kept a hand with no early plays means it's a lot more likely that they have things like this. I'm expecting a Bronzodon here, but could it easily just easily be a Ronus? Yeah, Bronzodon. That's a problem. I'm inclined to cast it out if we don't see a counterspell on top, just because otherwise it'll kill our search for Escanter, and it's always gonna. I'm gonna put Island Dog Graveyard actually, I think. Yeah, we just want to try and siphon through some lands. So I can either cast this out, which leaves me vulnerable to a Chandra, but at least I have the Teferi to deal with that. Yeah, I think I'm going to cast this out now. I don't want to allow them the choice. The problem is, if my opponent decides that the Search for Escanter is something they want to kill, they can, or if they decide that the cast out is more valuable, they can kill that. I don't want to, like, giving our opponent the choice seems like a mistake. So we'll put that under there. Hope that they don't have a Chandra this turn, because that will really be an issue. Okay, that card's actually not as much of a problem as you think it'd be. We are going to put that tomorrow. We already have one in hand. We're going to slam our Teferi here on the empty board. Even if our opponent has a Glorybringer, it doesn't quite finish off the Teferi. Get another land, which is good. And we get to untap some mana, although that doesn't actually do anything. But, you know, our opponent doesn't know that. Actually turn off auto yields. Oh my word. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's not. At least they don't draw a card, and it doesn't kill Teferi. It does reduce get him down 2, and that token's kind of a problem. Yeah, these red-green decks are very well set up against the control decks, I think, especially if this particular opponent has decided that they are going to try and tech their deck to be a little bit stronger against us with inclusions such as the Nissa, which isn't really a standard option, and this Lifecrafter's Beastry. But I think that's very reasonable. There's a lot of... I think I have to put this Cecil Scatter in the graveyard. As good as it is. Because I just need some sort of answer to these. So I can just about answer what's on the board with a Gideon. Well, let's draw a card first. Okay, so we've got Gideon's gonna I'm going to plus that on the dinosaur. And then we're going to cast out the Regisaur Alpha, I think is correct. Don't want to be having to cast out the token. Let's do that, and then yeah, we don't want to cast a pool for 3. We want to try and get a little bit further ahead than that, especially when we have this cast out. See what our opponent does. Ideally, they sacrifice their Hash-Up Oasis for no reason. Oh, that'll probably be the best move for us. But what is this? This is a Glorybringer. I'll probably counter that and just let Teferi die. Thrashing Bronzedon. Oh, it's okay. Alright. So in response to that, what we're going to do is we're going to cast out the Regisaur Alpha. So what they could do here is they can sacrifice their Bronzedon and kill this to get another. Oh, this was a mistake. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I did this wrong. Okay. Now Teferi's gonna die. Yeah, this was really bad. So what I should have done is just let that happen and killed the Regisaur Alpha after they attacked. If I was gonna do this, because now what's happened? Oh, that doesn't even work either. Because so the way that this works is that if the cast out is killed in response to the trigger, it doesn't ever actually. Yeah, that was why this is a mistake, because it doesn't prevent anything. It means the opponent can't kill a Gideon, but they wouldn't be wanting to anyway. It's cast out against Bronzedon is not great, but yeah. So they get to kill our Teferi, and they get to draw a card from that transaction. That's not ideal. That's not ideal. We need to find a board wipe. Yeah, we'll put the Rivet in the graveyard. Seal Away doesn't really do it. So yeah, that cast out was really bad. I don't think there was any way we could stop our Teferi from dying there, but we shouldn't have just given our opponent a 4/4 for 3 for free. So we can draw 4 cards, which I think is what we're going to end up doing. So I'm going to plus on the dinosaur. And if our opponent... And actually I think I'm going to destroy this now, because I'm not in the market for Sealing Away. And I think I want more islands. I'm on the market for Sealing Away. I want to get the 7th card for Search for Azcanta. So if they attack with both of them at Gideon, then we can seal away one of the dinosaurs. Otherwise we will disallow probably, but this is not a great matchup, especially when our opponent has correctly tapped against the blue-white control, and I make a mistake with the cast out. It's going to compound things, unfortunately, but regardless, this is going to be a tricky one. Yeah, so we're going to seal away. We'll keep Gideon around. He's preventing a lot of damage just by himself. Yeah, having the cast out for the Beastery would have been possibly a way that we could win this as well, but no, our opponent has free reign through a counterspell. So if there's like a challenger, that's at least they can't, with the change to the Planeswalker redirection rule, they can't redirect to Gideon. Oh, they've added mana. Oh no. What is this? Or a Kindling Phoenix that draws them a card? That seems quite good. Okay, well, how do we want to get around this? Field of Ruin, we'll transform that. Our draw steps are not being kind to us, which seems fair enough. I think I'm going to try and bluff a settle the wreckage here. So in that case, the correct thing to do is to plus it on this Chandra so it can't deal us damage if they hit a land. I'm going to play this because I'm not going to ever be cycling it. And we have just enough mana, with just one shot, unfortunately, of being able to settle the wreckage off of us as Azcanta. So we are just bluffing that we have it. And I think that'll be enough to for them to keep their Rekindling Phoenix back. But okay, they care about that. Yeah, they were going to keep back one creature. And I don't think there's much we can do to possibly save it. I'm just trying to think if there's anything we can get off of the Azcanta, and there's not. So we're just going to let Gideon die. What we need to draw here is a Lyra. That would really give us a good shot. So I'm going to be casting this Pool from Tomorrow, which will see us 5 cards deep, and we do have 2 Lyras. So hopefully they hit land. Yay! And we don't get to help the damage from the Gideon Plus, which is nice. If this is a Nissa, we will unfortunately have to counter it. Oh my word. Yeah, this Beastery is just really starting to bury us. Possibly meant to just go to more, like they seem to change up their deck quite a lot post-board, so I think that we actually definitely want more negates against this particular opponent in any case. Okay, so we've got a cast out to deal with a Chandra. No, this isn't completely hopeless. So still lacking that Lyra, unfortunately, but what we can do here is we'll cast out the Chandra and then pretend like we have a Settle the Wreckage, which we're still playing like we have. Been holding up the mana carefully. And then hopefully we get given enough breathing room to try and draw into something. No, Lyra is still definitely a very real out. Like, against this particular board, they can't attack into it. Well, they can get one attack in with the Oasis. So we've got to deal with that Chandra. We definitely can't win the game if that ultimate happens. And even if we just letting them get more and more value off it, it's going to be an issue just giving them the extra mana, especially with just their life, even with just their Life Crusher's Beastery, making everything work. But it's going to be a tough one, that's for sure. I can definitely see the appeal in playing more Lyras than just the 2 for something like this matchup, where they go a bit more on the Planeswalker route, because they don't really have any good answer to it in their colours. Like, they might board in Fight with Fires, but I would be surprised for them to have that card in their deck at this point. But the problem was, even if I think that our opponent almost to some extent might just attack with everything into a Seto anyway, because by the looks of it, their hands stocked enough that it would only be at most a temporary blip. Nice. One positive interaction here is that the Syncopate is a little more live. Although we can't actually counter anything. I think our opponent should play things in their pre-combat main phase, because we can't actually counter them anyway, even if we do, because if we're relying so heavily on bluffing this Settle the Wreckage, of which we do have, there are 3 in our deck. I'm really hoping they don't attack everything. This is enough that I would settle if I had it, unfortunately, so even if our opponent makes this particular attack, I think what I might do is kind of, yeah, we're just going to have to take it. Problem is, if we find it off our search for Azcanta, this is where the Zafran Void maybe looks a little better as a scavenger grounds, because one possible out here would be to search for a. Yep, nothing we can do about that. It looks a lot better. How many fumigates do we? Oh, we cut all our fumigates. Possibly not correct, given how this game is shaking out. So do I want to opt, or no, I guess I'll activate my Azcanta. It's unfortunate activating Azcanta can't actually find us. Lyra is the issue, but there's the settle the wreckage. But having to show it to them is not ideal. But there's not really a great deal we can do about that. I think we're gonna. What we can do though is we play to Fairy. We've got just enough breathing room. Very narrowly, unfortunately. We're hoping. Well, we did play a land this turn, unfortunately. If we had just one more mana, then we could plus settle the wreckage and have the disallow it up as well, which I think was really important. But our opponent's definitely thinking about this. We are still a little long clock. I don't think it's going to matter. I think it's going to be resolved one way or another before that comes into play. So we got a plus. Drawing land isn't great. So we're going to get to opt, which hopefully can find us a Lyra, but our opponent's only going to need to attack with this dinosaur and this Merfolk Branchwalker, and that's enough to unfortunately spur a settle from me, because we just can't afford to have Teferi die. That's one of our best ways to really try and pull out of this. So I think the correct attack for our opponent is just a Merfolk Branchwalker and dinosaur. I don't think I like this. I think that if you just do these two, yeah, I think they're reconsidering it. I've shown them to settle. They know for sure I have it. I'm not sure why you're attacking with the dinosaur. I'm forced to settle if you just attack the Teferi, I think. Maybe they think I won't settle if it's just a fairy. But I very much would do so. This does give me a little more breathing room, although this syncopates now. It's unlikely to hit. Is it the interaction with my opponent's Lifecraft Bestiary actually is they pay the green to draw their card. They might completely tap out to play threats, but I don't think they need to. A Nissa here would be an absolute disaster. Another Regisaur Alpha is actually not the end of the world. I'm not saying it's great for us, but we're just trying to draw settles until the end of time, I guess. Yeah, they are drawing their cards. If they do play, like if they play the Ronus here, we actually do get to counter it, which is astonishing. That one we did not get to counter. But it does still draw them a card. So we're going to be opting in the turn, trying to find our Lyra to really give us a shot. That ain't it. That is also not it. These draw steps are not being particularly kind to us, unfortunately. So we're going to be... I think I want to activate Azcanta in this turn. So I want to draw first, I think, because I haven't seen a Lyra with Azcanta, so it's more likely it's in the top percentile of my deck. Okay, that's something. Yeah, there's a Lyra, but there's a settle as well. Okay, so this is interesting. We actually do want to put them in the right order because we want to have the settle as close to the top as possible. So we want to put the settle, then the farmland, then the Lyra. I guess Lyra should have actually been the other way around, but that's not super relevant. Okay, well, we've got the Supreme Will. Maybe there's a world in which we can get the Teferi Ultimate off, and that can get us through it. Two of our lands are going to untap. So we can't. We want to be casting the Supreme Will. We want to have this disallow up as well as this settle the wreckage, which we have shown our opponent. We easily need to play. Keep an eye on the clock. We're starting to run low. And this is going to be a difficult one to win in time. It's been a very interesting game, though. It's good to, even at this stage where we've been quite so far behind with this Lifecrafters Bestiary, we've still got a hope at winning. Not sure I agree with my opponent's attacks necessarily. I guess they want to keep the dinosaurs having haste, but I don't think they really need to. I have just enough mana that I can activate this as counter if the opponent doesn't play something I'm forced to disallow, which would the threats I'm forced to the only threats I'm disallowing at this point are Nissa and Chandra, I think. Yeah, I obviously don't care about that. Hopefully it'll be ideal if I can get a syncopate off rather than a disallow, because every single settle I cast makes it harder and harder. A Carnage Tyrant! Oh my, that's not good. Okay, we're starting to get into real. Yeah, I guess that's going to stay on top. If we draw, has our Ibn Rivulet been? Yeah, we've already milled Ibn Rivulet. Oh, we have two. So if we draw a Rivulet, I think we're forced. Nope, they've just drawn the Carnage Tyrant. Okay, not a great deal we can do about that, I'm afraid. We don't want to disallow this because it doesn't really matter. Alright. I think I'm actually going to cast this Supreme Will rather than... Oh my word, what are you doing? You can't quite cast the Carnage Tyrant this turn, I know that much. Ronus the Indomitable. It also doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of things. And then so I want to... If we can hold off for one more turn to get this Teferi to Ultima. No, I need 2 more turns. I think that's going to be quite difficult. Does it give them trample? It does give them trample. Possibly we were meant to counter that. So I think I'm going to play Supreme Will because we really want to find a Lyra. Rather than just a random card. A non-creature. Well, Lyra's one of the things we needed. Okay, that's helpful. Then... So we're going to play that. Another Teferi. What does that do? Don't think a great deal, but I think this Ronus might actually be the death of me here, but maybe I was meant to counter it last turn. We'll see. Unfortunately, I think that the Cecil is still a little bit too far down in the deck to be able to find with an as counter. But we'll see what our opponent does with their attacks. They don't know that we only play 3 settles, so it might be a little bit more awkward for them. And they obviously don't know that we put one of them on the bottom and we are still looking through cards at quite a rate. So they might just go, oh, the Carnage Tyrant has haste? That's an issue. That is a giant issue. Okay, that might just be enough to kill us. I did forget that the Carnage Tyrant had haste. Bronzodon, that can give them back their Chandra, that's fine. That's definitely not going to be enough to prompt a response from me. Yeah, this Carnage Tyrant. Oh, this is a dinosaur as well, isn't it? Oh my. Why are they tapping this for mana? Yep. Okay, so how can we possibly win from this point? I think that might be... I think that the settle is too far down, unfortunately. Interesting. What are they attacking? Teferi. Let's have a look. Yeah, I don't think so. Any of this is going to be enough. I think we have to let Teferi die. Because blocking doesn't really get us anywhere. We do have another one. This Carnage Tyrant might be the end of us. Our opponent's just been able to present threats that we can't really deal with. Yeah, this was a mistake to board out of Fumigates. They went such a Planeswalker heavy route in for game 1, and I think it threw me off enough to play it like this. But it's been a really interesting match. And what do we want to do here? So we'll play a Teferi. Yep. I think we might have been through enough cars to have found our Cecil by now, but I admit I'm not. Yeah, I think that might be us. Scuppered, I'm afraid. It's been a good fight. Around having all this mana with this Ronos means that unless our Cecil was on top, and even then we'd have to deal with the Chandra. Yeah. You go ahead, opponent. I think without this, yeah, without the Fumigates on our deck, if we had Fumigate, there was definitely a chance we could win this game. The Carnage Tyrant, but our opponent having Carnage Tyrant, the Bestiary, the Planeswalkers package is just all a little bit too much. Yeah, I think this is done. We don't have any more win conditions. I'm not going to try and like time our opponent out or something. Okay, that was a really interesting match. I think I sideboarded. I thought they would go out or take out a lot of their like more the creatures that were more vulnerable to Wrath and kind of things, leave things more like Register Alpha and Rekindling Phoenix and the Bronze Dons, but they still have Tyrant, and just needing some sort of way to clean up the Register Alpha is probably a better way to handle that. But really interesting game. Definitely a lot to think about. Okay, on to the next one.